So we're here for Werribee TV in the coach's box at Avalon Airport Oval to reflect on the first half of season 2018 with senior coach John Lamont. John, interesting start to the year, perhaps as much so for what's gone on off the field as what's gone on it. What have you made of the year so far?
Still very excited, of course, to be in our new facility and our independent club. But the reality is, we're 2 wins, 7 losses. So we're disappointed. We're in an industry that, you're marked heavily on just that win-loss column. So we're disappointed but not despondent. We've obviously coming off the bye now, so we start the second half of the year. So we still feel we're moving forward as a group and as a club, and we would have liked to have pinched a couple of other games. We had some opportunities, of course, back to Geelong round 1, 4 points, and then Footscray game, 8 points, and lacked some consistency in some other games. But we're still very much making sure that we're moving forward as a playing group and as a coaching group. Every opportunity that we're together.
The record's not what you want it to be, as you've said. By the same token, wins against quality sides like Williamstown and Box Hill, that must give you a fair bit of confidence that you've got the ingredients there and it's just a matter of getting it together consistently.
Yeah, that's the key word, consistently. And just, within game as well as from week to week. We've spoken a little bit about at times it's almost like we've had a revolving door of players playing well and in form, some players, and then next week it's almost like someone else's turn. What we need is everyone playing with the attitude that we want for that, or very close to that 120 minutes. And that's what we're looking for. And to go to Box Hill and win over there was a great effort. But then the next week against Port Melbourne, we were disappointing after half time. Sam Collins kicked a terrific goal against Port Melbourne just before half time, 27-minute mark, something like that, to get us back within a goal. And we were playing okay without being strong in our performance, I thought. Then the opposition kicked 3 goals in about 4 minutes, and in the end we're beaten by 78 points. Really disappointing second half. We've got to try and make sure that in the second half of the season that we don't have halves of football or quarters like that where we allow the opposition just to, their scoring get out of control on us.
Obviously a big shake-up to the playing list, going independent, as you say. 12 players already making their debuts so far this year. Who are some of the newcomers who have really stood up and stood out to you?
Well, the obvious ones are Collins and Coughlin, who have made really significant contributions in our back half. So they've been the main ones. We had to start again in our ruck division. Historically, we've had Braden Bruce, Goldstein for a couple of games last year, Dan Curry before that. But now we've gone with Werribee listed rucks and Jack Berry, Nick Knott before his unfortunate injury. Julian Lockwood made his debut last week. So the ruck division, and they do some great work with Brad Julia. So they've made a pretty positive impact in an area of the game that's tough, up against AFL listed genuine 200 centimetre players that are on AFL lists. Ben Maloney's return to the club's been really positive in around the on-ball position and around the clearances and so forth. So, look, across the board, we've had some good contribution, but what we need is just that more consistent across more players more often.
And the returning players, anyone who's really taken the opportunity with the move to go independent or standalone and really stepped up their game this year?
Josh Corbett is the obvious answer to that question. He's had a terrific year to date. Into his third year, played most of the games, which he hasn't really been able to. Had a few injury setbacks and illness. Had a dose of glandular fever 12 months ago and some injuries. But this year he's had some real consistency. So that's been pleasing. And also Kurt Aylett and Michael Sotomarco, those guys have had injuries over the last couple of years, but they've been really able to put together consistent week-to-week footy. So we think those two and others have still got further improvement for the rest of the year.
The other big off-field story this year has been the facility. We've heard a lot about the first impressions of moving in. Now that you've had time to adjust to the day-to-day of actually being in here at Avalon Airport Oval, the redeveloped Avalon Airport Oval, what's that been like?
Yeah, it's been really, really good for the players. Just gym facilities, vision review, ability, player computers set up to review the games properly, proper game review set up, good projectors and all those sort of things so that we can review what we're doing, prepare better, locker rooms, great. The final piece in the jigsaw is just the ice bath recovery area. The plumbers have been hard at it for the last couple of days. So we're hopeful that that will be all completed in the next few days. But it's really a great workable space. And to have home games, obviously we didn't have home games in 2017, to have home games, home coaching box facilities has been a real positive.
Result-wise, as you said, not where you would like to be ideally. How do you reset and refocus for the second half of the year? What do you and the playing group set your sights on?
Well, look, we review the sort of things that we spoke about at the start of the year, about how we want to play, and the players, now even forgetting the win-loss, the players know that they haven't delivered on the things that we set out to deliver on at the start of the year. So it's a matter of going back to that and readdressing, well, what do we need to do? Try and simplify some things. And that's what we've done basically. Whilst it's not rear view mirror type things, we are looking at, well, what did we set out to achieve? How do we break that down? How do we simplify it? Focus on the basics, not introducing too much that's new. We have tactics from week to week against different opposition, but really player ownership, responsibility, how do we want to play? Let's make sure we're really focused in that area and get better at it. At the same time, the good things in our game, let's keep developing them and make them better. And it's all about closing the gap between our best and our worst.
John, thanks very much for your time. All the best against Frankston and for the second half of the year.
Thanks, Mitch. Cheers.